Welcome to Not Your Average Cinema. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we are reviewing Jurassic World Rebirth, which is the latest in the Jurassic Park franchise. I'm shocked, a little shocked, that we've already gotten another film since the previous one, which I think when we looked at it, it was actually longer ago than I had thought it was.
Mhm.
And I think we both had this one on our anticipated lists this year. We always tend to like dinosaur well, mostly the Jurassic Park movies. I don't know that there are that many other dinosaur movies in general.
65, which I actually enjoyed. A lot of people hate that one, but I like.
A lot of people, I heard a lot of people. I have not watched it just because I was excited for it, but from the reviews, I'm like, I don't want slow pace dinosaur movie. And is that what this is, Pepper? Is that what this is? It says it's a thriller, which would make you think maybe it isn't.
It might be a little slow. I'm guessing it's maybe just a little bit slower than some of the other movies in the franchise. But yeah, we give our ratings right off the bat. We're a little different. We're not Joe Average cinema reviewers here. We give our ratings right off the top. This one very anticipated by me. This one just kind of feels like another Jurassic movie. I had a lot of fun with it. It delivered the thrills that I would want going to the theater to see a Jurassic movie, but it didn't tread any new paths or anything like that. So this one's probably getting an 8 for me personally. Like it could go up a little higher just because I do really love this franchise overall. So these are just made for me. So it could be an 8, 8.5, something like that for me.
Wow, Pepper. Wow, you are very generous with all your scores. I think this one for me is maybe closer to a 6 out of 10. I was hoping for maybe a little bit more from it. Just, I don't know. But the first one in the series, I think, really set the bar. And I don't know. Has anything actually surpassed the original?
I
It was
mean,
just a lot of good stuff, I think, and especially for its time.
I have my
Uh,
opinions. I have two films at the top personally, and then every single other one is kind of right there. This one's so hard for me to rank. If you want us to rank it, comment below. We might rank it anyway. I'm not sure, but it's an extremely maybe the hardest franchise that I have found to rank for me because I love them all. But I don't think the first one is alone in being in the best for me personally.
okay, okay.
But
Uh,
let's get on to the good, which you will have none of. Clearly, you agree with the tomato meter here. I agree with the people.
wow. But yeah,
Um,
we do the good,
yeah,
the mid, and the bad, and we may have minor spoilers. We try to avoid spoilers, but if
yeah,
you don't want any spoilers, I'd say go check it out. Sounds like it's doing pretty well at the box office.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's one of the top. I thought I saw something I was saying is in the top three opening weekends this year in 2025. So
Yeah. I think it's
yeah,
got
go see it if you're interested in it.
over 300 million, and it's not even a week old yet. So that's pretty crazy. I thought people would tire on the franchise by now, but they have not. But in the good, some of these things that I think you do agree with, you pointed out one of them when we were talking, and that was kind of the visuals of the film, and that could kind of tie into the action as well, just kind of the whole presentation of the dinosaurs and the fun stuff when we get it. I think it's on par with the previous entries in the franchise. The visual effects are great. Cinematography is pretty good. The music, obviously, you have that same Jurassic theme. Like I'm like, when is this gonna get tired? I would like maybe a new piece of music, but that classic theme is something you cannot ignore when you're making one of these movies.
Yeah, that's 100% true. They always do a good job with the sound or the theme of this one and everything. And yeah, I think that was probably my favorite thing from the whole movie are when we did get dinosaurs and the visuals of them. I thought they did some fun things with those visuals, which yeah, goes in with this setting and the action as well. They kind of all tie into each other. Just because usually when you get a dinosaur, there's something going on
Yeah.
most of the time, and yeah, I thought this did a great job when it did have them, and yeah, the setting felt like another. we're on another island of
Yeah.
these dinosaurs. So, and I thought it felt like a fun enough one. I
Yeah. I
mean,
think it
I
explored
don't
some
know that it
different
did.
areas. You,
Yeah, I don't know
you
that it
got
did.
water. You got a lot of water in
I
this
did
one.
like the water scenes
Yeah.
because we didn't really get many of those in any of the other movies, so I did like that. But yeah, there were times where on the island they were going through water, and I was questioning why would they go through water here if there's any chance they could be on land and actually see what they're
Yeah.
going by, because just because of earlier events that had already happened to them.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so I think all those things were really good. So if that's all you're worried about, you just like that kind of thing, this could maybe be for you.
Yes. And then we move on to the mixed, which there's maybe a couple things in here that one in particular that I would put onto good, but then you disagreed a little bit, so we put it in mixed. But let's start with the dinos, kind of carrying over what we did and talked about. You say when we got the dinos, it was great, but you think we did not get enough?
Yes, that's where it's a mixed one for me because I think you originally had dinos a little bit lower, so I think I was maybe enjoying those a little bit more, but I don't know, maybe you agreed more with what I was thinking after I had said, well, I could have used more dinosaurs, so I understand if that's why you're upset. So if you really want a lot of non-stop dinosaurs, there are some Walking Dead walking moments it feels like in this one where it kind of feels like it slows down a little bit. Maybe it's I never looked at my watch, so I don't know that I felt like 2 hours and 15 minutes. But that's where maybe I don't know if we maybe could have found some of those times to cut the movie down a little bit if we're not going to just fill it jam packed with action.
Yeah.
But I guess we need that for the thrilling part.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know, like I don't know. Even when it got slow, it never because you didn't have the threat of the dinosaurs. Some of those scenes just felt like, oh, this could be Walking Dead, the threat of those walkers that have been around for years,
Yeah.
and we don't really actually care. We're not really threatened.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if maybe it was the amount, but I just feel like we didn't make any new stars with the dinos that we saw in this one.
Yeah.
In the first one, like people were surprised. Obviously, everyone knows about the T-Rex, but the Velociraptors, I don't know if we're really on anyone's mind going into the original Jurassic Park, and they've just done a great job of making those such an iconic figure in the franchise and just people's understanding of dinosaurs. And I feel like each movie usually does a good job. The third one brings in the Spinosaurus, and I thought he's kind of like a scary opposite of the T-Rex. The new ones brought in some the water monsters, water dinos, and even some mutants that I felt were. Speaking of these mutants, I felt the early ones maybe were a little more memorable. I don't feel like we had any new star with the dinosaurs or the mutants in this one. And going to mutants, I feel like we could have gone a little wilder with this. I was excited for maybe more of a horror movie type of vibe going into this because this is the island with all the misfits and the forbidden dinos that were just too dangerous. And I don't know if it felt that way. These could have just been regular dinosaurs. They didn't even look that crazily unfamiliar. So I felt like we could have gone a little wilder, a little crazier with that aspect.
Yeah, and that's where one of the earlier things you can see this is a PG-13 movie, so yeah, this is more for uh, bringing your family to potentially, just like a lot of the Jurassic Park. Maybe they're all PG-13,
I
but I
think
feel like we could have maybe explored some of that stuff if we had gotten a rated R Jurassic Park
yeah,
movie. But I suppose that could be hard to do if you've always had them be kind of the
yeah,
PG-13 and then just go completely to rated R. I don't know if that would work. Um,
yeah,
so I can see why they wouldn't, but I think that could have, then you could have started doing, more unique things with that, but you didn't want to be too much like nightmare fuel,
yeah.
even
It's
though,
it's a family movie. I saw a lot of kids at the theater when we were there. That's how it makes $300 million in a few days.
yep,
It's just
yep.
selling those tickets, and I just don't think that they're going to go in on that unless they just start cranking out a bunch of movies where they feel they can maybe explore with a couple of them.
Raptors. That's what they'll
Raptor,
call it.
Velocipaster. Uh, there's another one you didn't mention. Good dino movie.
Great, great dino movie.
And then we go on to the part that I had in the good was the characters, and I mainly was thinking of the main three that you can see on the cover there with ScarJo, Mahershala Ali, Blade, never gonna be Blade, and then the scientist guy. I don't know his actor's name, but I really like those three there. They gave just enough, just a tease of them and their backstories and their motivations that I was actually liking them and invested in them throughout the whole film, and that was one of the things I was worried about going into this because ScarJo, Mahershala, I've never really cared about their characters too much in movies. I've never felt like, oh, I got to go see their new movie. So I was worried about that going into this. So I was relieved to actually enjoy those characters quite a bit.
Yeah, I felt a little different. I probably would have put characters just all in all, almost all of them in bad. I I didn't really connect with any of them. It kind of initially set them up all as possibly being these bad people, and to me, they never won me over as like being good people. Just because, like, I feel like their reasoning for why we should be behind them as opposed to another person is because they want to save kids, sort of. They
Mm,
still want to do this job, which is extremely dangerous, could lead to death, but we also don't want to let the kids get hurt. We're worried about the kids.
yeah, yeah, and
But
that,
then they don't really ever have they don't really have any moments with the kids, so I you never really get to see that or feel that. So I never really bought into them because they seem like they're just career criminals. So I don't know why.
scientist guy really isn't
Okay,
bad.
maybe
I
the
liked him,
scientist
and I
guy.
liked him and his respect and relationship with the dinosaurs, especially the long necks. I like that scene. Uh,
There was something
I
about it.
enjoyed that.
I don't know if it was the acting, the way they wrote his character, but something about him. I just like this guy. Just seems shady. I don't like him. I didn't like him at all.
There's one.
Ollie was probably my favorite one.
Okay, there we go.
I was hoping. What I was hoping is okay. Well, never mind because it'd be spoiler. It'd be
Okay,
spoilery.
okay.
We'll just say something, one way or another. Maybe something happens to him. But I was hoping, just based on his character, I'd love to see his character by himself trying to survive on this island. Get a
Okay,
movie just him surviving.
that would be cool. That would be cool. But yeah, then other characters there is a whole family that's kind of thrown in there, and that's going to tie in. I like them, and there's one character that everyone seems to hate and say is the most annoying character. They have a couple obviously annoying moments, kind of a boyfriend character to one of the kids, but I didn't mind him. He grew on me enough. He's not dragging the movie down. But I will say that the focus shifting between because this group that's driving the whole story and then this family they kind of interact, intersect, and then split up again, and then kind of work their way back to each other. So you're just kind of cutting back and forth. They're not really interacting. They don't have history with each other because they just were together for a few minutes. So while I like the adventures of the family, it did feel sometimes like, okay, now back to the real story that actually matters with the actual main three characters. Felt like the focus maybe hurt those main three characters and some of their development by splitting it up so much.
Yeah, I I don't know. I wonder if they could have just met like later on just once and stayed together later than when they did originally. Like have something happen a
Uh,
little differently where they both end up kind of in the same place. I wonder if that would have made it more interesting. But then again, I think what they are trying to do is trying to be able to paint some of these people as
yeah,
good. I feel like that is the only reason we had them connect in the first place
that's true.
because we didn't really have any other way to make them seem like they had a moral side.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely some generic kind of good guy, bad things going on with how certain situations are handled. So I'll just say if you want a compelling, more villainous character, you're not getting anything here. Oh boy. And that with that, I think the movie plays it very safe. And that's a
Yeah.
mixed aspect. If you want
Yeah.
something
I
brand
think that's
new,
what it is.
you're not getting it. If you want more of the same, this could be for you.
Yep.
And on to the bad, the big bad that I'm like, there's some redeeming qualities at some of the other things, but I don't think you can argue that this is a very logical movie, that every single thing that happens in it is smart. There's a lot of dumb things that happen in this one. If you've seen the movie, I just gotta say Snickers, and you'll know what we're talking about. Like, things just happen to have things happen. It doesn't bother me that much, but if you really want something to be as clever as the first movie, where it just feels like these sequences are unavoidable and just happen and it feels real, unforced, this might bother you a little bit.
Yeah, and it probably bothered me a little bit more than it bothered you. I get like my main reason that this is on like my most anticipated list, and I figured either way, I'd probably at worst have a score like 5, 6, 7, just because I'm like I just like the dinosaur. I like the Jurassic Park movies, even though they've definitely been trending downwards with some of the Jurassic World ones. I would say that's my personal feeling. I guess I think a lot of people would probably agree. The last one
Yeah.
before this was probably the worst one they've done somehow, some way. Uh, even though you bring back everyone and you somehow can't come up. I mean, because I think it probably has something to do with its logic in some sense.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, I just wish it's like just treat us a little bit smarter. I know these are family movies and it's just there to see the dinosaurs, but maybe just a little put a little more effort into some of these things and just it's like it's just lazy writing for something that's going to make hundreds of millions of dollars. Just put a little more effort into it sometimes.
Yeah. Give us something we can call a classic, instant classic.
Right.
Yeah, because there's a
Exactly.
writer from the first two movies, and I think the director, I think it's the guy who
Well, that
did.
makes it even more. I might
Yeah,
have to give it a lower score. That makes it more
I
disappointing
know, I know, and
because
director
those
was
probably are
from
my two favorites.
The Creator. I think he was the director of that and one of the better Star Wars movies, as well as some other things.
Hmm.
So I'm like, you got the talent here behind the camera.
That is
Just,
strange.
I
Wow,
thought it'd be a
that
little
makes me
more.
really wonder.
I think that's the main thing. It's just going to be like surprisingly forgettable, for it doesn't really stand out amongst the franchise. Maybe I
Right.
don't know if this is going to spawn sequels. I'm guessing there's going to be more, but I don't know if we're going to follow these characters, if they're going to make a trilogy out of it. Maybe that could add to this a little bit as we maybe spend more time at this island. But right now, I feel like this is just another dinosaur movie.
Yeah, and I feel like probably at the end of the year, we'll see what you think. Your score is a little bit higher, but yeah, that's where I think by the end of the year, when we're doing those kind of lists of like top 10, I just think this is gonna kind of fall into the mix of, yeah, it's a fine movie.
Yeah,
It won't be enough to get on that type of list
yeah,
for
yeah,
me,
yeah.
but.
Sounds like it.
But yeah, I would still, if you like Jurassic Park movies, I would still recommend going and seeing it if you like to watch movies in theaters anyway. Just because it's one of those that's just kind of a fun
Yeah.
experience to see in theaters versus at home, I think. So yeah, I guess any other comments, Pepper?
I have absolutely zero. Where do you want the Jurassic franchise to be taken next? You want it in the R, rated R direction. I do like that idea. So comment your thoughts below.
Can we get a killer of killers, Jurassic
Ooh.
Park,
Oh, yes.
animated? Oh boy, Raptus. Yeah, otherwise we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to keep on nibbling on that movie theater popcorn.